Have you ever wondered why your sleep no longer restores you? Why you wake up shattered even after 8 hours? Why the global sleep aid industry is valued at over $100 billion, yet insomnia rates keep climbing? The answer lies in a plant the system has erased from official consciousness. Pulsatilla patens, the Pasqueflower, sleep herb, that very purple bell ancient Slavs revered as a key to the world of ancestors. Today, we're opening the dossier on a plant that doesn't just treat insomnia, it rewires the very architecture of your sleep, restoring access to states of consciousness that were confiscated from you. In ancient Rus, sleep herb was sacred. It wasn't gathered casually. People approached it with ritual, with reverence, with understanding. Slavic volks used Pulsatilla to enter altered states where time flowed differently and knowledge arrived directly from the source. But remember the Christianization of Rus. Remember how the church waged war against pagan customs. Plants of power were the first target. Sleep herb was declared devil's brew, and those who used it, wizards, witches, heretics. This wasn't a battle for souls, it was a battle for control over consciousness. Because a human being who can enter deep sleep at will, who can receive knowledge from altered states, doesn't need intermediaries, no priests, no gurus, no $200 an hour therapists. The system cannot tolerate autonomous humans. So sleep herb was demonized, pushed to the margins of botany, reduced to just another poisonous plant. Let's look under the microscope. What makes Pulsatilla so extraordinary? The primary active compound, protoanemonin, a toxic molecule that, when properly processed, transforms into a bouquet of biologically active substances. But the system only talks about the toxicity. Why? Because protoanemonin in microdoses acts as a potent modulator of GABA receptors, the very receptors responsible for nervous system inhibition. Modern sleeping pills, benzodiazepines, work on a similar principle, but they're blunt instruments. They shut consciousness down without delivering true restoration. Sleep herb works differently. It doesn't knock you out, it tunes you in. Research suggests that pulsatilla alkaloids support hemispheric synchronization in the brain, facilitating entry into delta wave sleep, that profound state where tissue regeneration occurs, memories consolidate, and, most importantly, access to the collective unconscious becomes possible. Carl Jung, founder of analytical psychology, wrote extensively about the importance of dreams for personality integration. But he didn't know that Slavic practitioners had been using sleep herb for centuries to work consciously with dream states. Think about this. In a world where 30% of the population suffers from insomnia, where sleeping pills are prescribed like candy, where people pay thousands for mattresses and meditation apps, why does nobody talk about Pulsatilla? Because sleep herb represents biological autonomy. A person who controls their sleep controls their restoration. They don't depend on pharmacies. They don't buy melatonin. They don't swallow prescription drugs that damage the liver and create dependency. But there's a deeper reason the system fears sleep herb. In the deep sleep state that Pulsatilla facilitates, something happens that the system cannot control. You gain access to information beyond time and space. Shamans called it journeying. Neuroscientists call it the hypnagogic state. But the essence is the same. In this state, ego boundaries dissolve, and you become a conduit for knowledge that doesn't arrive through logical reasoning. Imagine an army of people who every night receive direct insights, see solutions to problems, find answers to questions that have haunted them for years. Such people don't need propaganda. They know truth directly. In Slavic tradition, Pulsatilla was called the snow piercer, not because it blooms early, but because it lifts the snow, awakening hidden forces in nature and in humans. The elders said, "Who knows sleep herb will never lack sleep." But this wasn't about simply falling asleep. It was about sleeping consciously. Unlike valerian, which merely calms, or motherwort, which reduces anxiety, Pulsatilla operates at the architectural level of sleep itself. It doesn't mask symptoms, it restores the organism's innate capacity to enter healing states. There's another dimension rarely discussed. Pulsatilla is a profoundly feminine plant. In folk medicine, it was used for cycle irregularities, hormonal imbalances, postpartum depression. Why? Because it works with lunar rhythms, with cyclicity, with that very feminine power the system seeks to suppress, transforming women into linear, predictable workers. Yes, Pulsatilla is toxic. In its fresh form, it can cause burns, poisoning, serious complications. And the system uses this as its primary argument: dangerous, forbidden, illegal. But let's be honest, is fire dangerous? Yes, if you grab it with bare hands. But if you learn to work with it, it provides warmth, light, the ability to prepare food. The toxicity of sleep herb isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's a natural filter that screens out the careless. This plant doesn't want to be used by everyone. It demands respect, knowledge, preparation. In traditional medicine, Pulsatilla was never used fresh. It was dried, aged, prepared through specific processes. This deactivated toxic components while preserving therapeutic ones. Today, when anyone can read online, drink Pulsatilla and fall asleep, poisonings occur, and the system uses these cases to further demonize the plant. It's a vicious cycle: information suppression, blind experimentation, adverse events, harsher prohibition. We are not providing usage instructions. That would be irresponsible, but we can point you in the right direction. First, stop fearing plants of power. Fear is what the system implanted to make you surrender your health to corporations. Second, study traditional methods, not modern biohacks, actual ancestral knowledge. How was it gathered? When? How was it prepared? What rituals accompanied its use? Third, respect toxicity. If a plant can harm, it can also heal. Power is always dual-edged. Fourth, start small. You don't need to hunt for Pulsatilla immediately. Begin by restoring sleep hygiene. Sleep before midnight. Eliminate blue light in the evening. Create a bedtime ritual. Fifth, listen to your body. It remembers. Your cells recall times when sleep was a sacred act, not wasted time. Pulsatilla blooms in early spring, while snow still lies on the ground. It pushes through frozen earth, through winter's remnants, carrying the promise of life. So can you. You can break through the artificial winter the system has created, through insomnia, through anxiety, through dependency on pharmaceuticals. Sleep herb isn't just a plant, it's a reminder. You have the right to deep, restorative sleep, to dreams that carry knowledge, to waking up feeling truly alive. The system stole this key from you, but it cannot steal your memory of what it feels like to sleep, truly sleep. Pulsatilla patens. Sleep herb, the Pasqueflower, a plant the system transformed from sacred tool into poisonous weed. But now you know the truth. You know that behind every prohibition lies the system's fear of your autonomy. We're not telling you to run into the forest and harvest Pulsatilla. We're inviting you to reclaim your right to sovereign sleep, to reconnect with nature, to restore knowledge that was taken from us. Purity of your sleep is the first step toward purity of your consciousness. Subscribe to this channel. Here we reclaim the power that was stolen from us through fear. Don't let the system think for you. Seek truth precisely where they try to hide it. Restore your connection to nature. Take responsibility for your life and remain sovereign, because those who control their sleep control their reality, and that is the last thing the system is willing to allow.